Hi, my name is Margo and I'm a fan of good arguments. And this is a Speak Smart 7-minute video about how or when AI will beat humans in a debate. Now, as a fan of good arguments, I'm curious about how technology emulates the human mind when we talk about argument creation and presenting arguments, which is often called a debate. Like in so many other human areas, like chess perhaps and Go, we humans tend to think that we are unbeatable, or at least not beatable in a near future by technology. But we've been proven wrong in chess and we've been proven wrong in Go. And I think it would be overly confident of me to say that a debate is somehow very different. In fact, I don't think debate is very different. And let me tell you a little bit of why I think AI will, in the near future, beat humans in a debate. There is something that IBM has been working on for a number of years now. It's called IBM Project Debater, and what they're trying to build is they're trying to build an AI working on their supercomputer that would beat a human debater in a face-to-face debate. Now, it has a lot of natural language processing components to it, but the core of it is mapping arguments, creating natural sounding speech based on those arguments, listening to the human counterpart present their arguments, and then responding to those arguments, and doing it persuasively enough so that a panel of judges or an audience would vote for the AI rather than the human debater at the end of the debate. Now, currently, we are using the human mind in combination with software to do something similar. In SpeakSmart, we're using a software package called Rationale Online in order to create argument maps. Now, the reason we create argument maps is because argument maps are very useful in a number of scenarios. For example, imagine going into negotiations and already knowing either all of the arguments that are going to be presented, or at least 95% of the arguments that are going to be presented during the course of those negotiations. And not only knowing the arguments, but also knowing the potential responses to those arguments, and then rebuttals of those responses. So you basically have a complete map of arguments created before you ever enter the negotiation scenario. Same goes for sales. Same goes for decision making. So there's a number of scenarios where argument maps are very useful. This brings us to two false beliefs that many people have. When we think of argumentation or argument maps, there are two parts. The first part is constructive arguments, and the second part is reactive arguments. So you have two types of arguments. And many people think that on a given topic, the number of arguments is infinite or nearly infinite. And in fact, it's nothing like that. On a given specific topic, the number of arguments is very much finite, and it's usually less than 20. On either the constructive or the reactive side. So it's actually a small number of arguments. And that brings us to another false belief that many people have, which is that you need to create those arguments. You don't. Most of the arguments on most of the topics already pre-exist. They've already been created by someone. Not only have they already been created by someone, they've already been uttered by someone, either in written form or in oral form. So in fact, argument mapping is much more a task of data gathering and intelligent data sorting rather than argument creation. And knowing what we know about neural networks and AI today, it is very good at gathering data, spotting patterns in that data, and then sorting data according to those patterns. So because of that, and because an untrained human mind is not very good at creating argument maps, because we're not usually structured enough or focused enough to create an argument map. It takes about 3 hours. For a trained person, it takes about 3 hours to create an argument map on a given topic. I imagine IBM Project Debater can do it in less than 3 minutes. And essentially that is the reason why I think that in the near future, maybe in a year or two, we will see artificial intelligence that is able to beat an untrained human in a debate, so that the audience would vote for the computer rather than the human. So the point is actually that debates are more predictable than most people realize. They're less predictable if the topic is left very wide or open, such as election debates, where you can go from one topic like economy to another topic like healthcare to something like defense, and it's not sort of tightly worded. But in a tightly worded scenario, so for example, if we have a debate about whether to make euthanasia legal in a country, or whether a company should enter this foreign market or another foreign market, or whether a company should make its services available online when they're not, when it's not possible to provide them offline anymore. But when it's a narrowly worded topic, then the number of arguments very quickly reduces to a very manageable amount of arguments, and the number of possible combinations also becomes finite and manageable. Of course, in a real debate scenario, there's more than just arguments. There's more than just argument mapping. There's framing of arguments. There's criteria setting. There's also the presentation side of arguments. So humans are often convinced to a large degree, not only by the content of the argument, but also by how those arguments are presented. And that's true for negotiations and sales as much as it is true for debates. So there's more to it. But at the core, argument mapping is easier than most people think it is. And therefore, I think AI is much quicker becoming much more capable at it than we realize. So have a look at IBM Project Debater. They have a few videos out that showcase where they are currently in their development, and give me a few comments below the video to let me know what you think about the AI versus human mind in a debate scenario future. Do you agree that it's going to take a year or two, or do you think it's going to be, maybe you think it's never going to happen? Anyway, this was a 7-minute video about when and if AI will ever beat humans in a debate. Thank you for watching.